So we've just had a very special car leave the studio. A classic Porsche 911 reimagined by Rennsport. It came out absolutely fantastic, but there was one very small problem with it. So when the customer originally brought the car to us, it had some very deep scratches on the rear quarter and the boot lid. And before any paint protection film was applied to the car, these needed to be rectified. But before we begin with any of that process, every job starts exactly the same, with a proper wash.
It's important for us to do this, the crevices, because there's a lot of dirt and debris in the crevices. And when they're installing the PPF, when they spray the water, it flushes out and then it could create contamination in the PPF.
So after the initial wash, the surface needs to be decontaminated. So initially, that's with the solvent-based cleaner, and then with the clay bar, and then we can really see what we're working with. So the customer came to us with some deep scratches on the rear quarter and the boot lid. So the first stage in rectifying these is wet sanding. This involves levelling out the clear coat and preparing the surface for us to polish. So once the wet sanding has been complete, we are left with some small marks and haziness, and this will then be rectified with all the polishing. And there it is. As you can see, the panel is looking refreshed and back to new. The wet sanding's been complete, the polishing has been complete, and now we're ready to apply the PPF. So whilst all the machine polishing and wet sanding was being done, we started designing and plotting the pattern for the film that was going to be installed. Now for a car of this age and where it's been slightly modified, we did have to modify the pattern in some places, and on some more complex panels we decided to opt for a bulk installation.
Essentially the patterns that we have for this vehicle are quite limited. Obviously the patterns were designed quite a few years ago, so we're having to go back and update certain things. Obviously doing like a hybrid bulk is beneficial on flat colours, we can minimise marks. So what we've done is we've patterned the badge, which is a fixed point that we can't move, and then the rest of it we're doing as a hybrid. So we're going to cut it off the edge of the panel, so no risk of damage to the paintwork. It's the safest and most efficient way to do these cars. Obviously, car to car, they're all very specific to the chassis numbers. So we could design this whole car, we'd get another Rennsport 911 in, and the pattern would be different. So hence why this is the most efficient way to do it.
So the rear of the car is a very complex section with a lot of different shapes. And what this requires is distributing tension wherever possible and allowing the film to rise naturally. So in the future, it doesn't pop or lift. This took real skill from the guys and was a very complex piece to install to an extremely high standard.
That looks amazing.
So yeah, full coverage. We've done some extra bits. I think I explained this to you. So we took that off and rubbed the edge, so we don't have these edges.
Got rid of all my scratches.
Yeah. The scratch is gone.
It really brings the gloss out, doesn't it?
It does.
It definitely makes it a lot shinier.
Obviously, bear in mind we did polish the paintwork before the PPF went on, and then the cabin ceramic coated as well.
It's beautiful. Beautiful job, Mike. Thank you so much.
No, pleasure.
It looked good when I brought it in, but it looks even better now.
Yeah, it was a good starting point, by all fairness. Yeah. Obviously, things like the headlights been removed, so you don't have these nasty edges of the film that over the time will start look tired.
Is there anything really tricky about it, or was it?
In terms of the installation?
Yeah.
Time consuming, because obviously it's an old car.
Yeah.
So things like, for example, under the bumper, there was amount of the dust and dirt.
Okay, right.
It was probably fighting with contamination, despite the fact we spent a long time cleaning the car and blowing it off. There's always a little bit of thing trapped here and there,
which you don't get with a new car. But otherwise, is it more difficult on older cars or not?
It is,
yes,
because it's
just because of detailing. Or
it's
I
not
guess
so
modern
much,
cars are
it's
more.
Not so much that. Is these cars, believe it or not, but each is slightly different. So it's a lot more adjusting the film,
Each one
because
is-
otherwise,
yeah.
if we would just slap it on as it is printed out, you'd have 3-4 mils all around the edges,
Okay.
which what you will normally most of the time see on older cars.
Yeah.
But we try to push the limits of the installation and the film to the as far as we can.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
And that's the 911 complete. Every single painted surface on the car had PPF applied to it. We applied the ceramic coating on top of the PPF afterwards, just for ease of maintenance, and the car is now protected for years to come against stone chips, scratches, and UV. If you've got a classic 911 or any 911 and you want PPF applied to it, leave a comment down below.